Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Gotta give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, the Most High, the Heavenly Father. His Hebrew name is Yahweh, not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah. It's Yahweh. And his only begotten Son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shai. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua. It's Yahweh Shai. So gotta give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rikah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether they can accept it or not. And a sincere salutation to all the Akim, pushing the truth and believing the truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world, working on the hope for the elect. And shalom to the Akwath who are listening and learning, the few sisters who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah from GMS Orlando Camp, coming at you with another lesson in truth, facts, faith, and edification, another daily edification. Lord's willing, this be edifying. This is for educational purposes only. This is not for monetary gain. I do not own the copyright to these videos. This is for educational purposes only. Lord's willing, this be edifying. In this lesson, I actually did a lesson on this about a month ago. But watching the Elder Yashwama video, it sparked me to do another lesson on this. Lord willing, this be edifying. Because what's going on is they are starting to complain. And is this not what you wanted? To give equal rights, to give liberty to everybody? This is what you asked for. Now it's a problem.
First executive orders was to allow transgender athletes to participate in girls' sports. Quoting his order, children should be able to learn without worrying about whether they will be denied access to the restroom, the locker room, or school sports. So let's talk about the real-world impact of this action with a track athlete from Danbury, Connecticut, Alana Smith, and Alliance Defending Freedom Legal Counsel, Christiana Holcomb. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you for having us.
I'm going to start by playing something that your mom, Alana, said about you going into competition under these circumstances. Here's what she said.
Alana and I were talking about what her strategy was going to be for the day, and she looked at me and said, "Mom, it really doesn't matter because I'm running against the boys today. I won't win."
So, Alana, what kind of position does this put you in as a biologically born female athlete?
It's really disappointing because I know that me and all the other biological females work really hard at track practice, and we work hours a day just to shave off tenths of a second for our times, and it's just really disappointing to know who's going to win the race before it even starts.
Going on, the ACLU says this, their deputy director for transgender justice, states that attempt to bar trans girls from sports, regardless of age or of transition, medical intervention, or anything else, with the new federal administration will now be risking lawsuits by the federal government, Justice Department intervention, and the loss of federal funding. So where does the legal fight go here, Christiana?
Well, this order is an irresponsible abuse of power. It is unlawful, and it effectively eviscerates women's sports for young women like Alana. Look, we already know what the impact of these policies are. We've seen it play out in Connecticut, where 2 biological males have swiped 15 women's state championship titles over the course of just a few seasons. So this will have a devastating impact on women's sports if it's allowed to proceed.
I want to read something from one of the transgender athletes who has been at the center of a lot of these conversations and cases, saying running has been so important for my identity, my growth as a person, and my ability to survive in a world that discriminates against me. It's Andrea Yearwood. I'm thankful that I live in Connecticut, where I can be treated as a girl in all aspects of life and not face discrimination at school. So, Alana, what is your message to these athletes who say this is an important part of their life and their identity?
I just want them to realize how unfair the situation was. Like, for example, at regionals, on freshman year, I should have gotten a silver medal. Instead, I received a bronze. And it's not really about the medal or the placement, but it's about knowing that all my hard work paid off. Because, like I said, we spend hours a week training just to shave off the tiniest amount of seconds for our times. And it's just really disappointing to know that our hard work isn't really paying off how it should be.
And I know there are scholarships that are in play a lot of times. It's competitive. You're talking about a college education or the ability to get help with that. I want to play something from Kara Dansky from the Women's Human Rights Campaign. She is pretty far left, feminist, who would describe herself as very far left. This is what she said earlier tonight when talking with Tucker Carlson.
What this will have the impact of doing is obliterating women and girls' sex-based rights at a federal level. This is rank misogyny, and it is coming from the left. 2, there is a tremendous amount of money.
So, Christiana, this has been one of those things that we talk about. It's so interesting to see groups coming together from far left, far right, across the spectrum, coming together to stand up and say, as women's rights advocates, though they may disagree on all kinds of other things like abortion and workplace issues, they agree here that they think that this is fundamentally unfair to women. But this is an administration. We have our first female vice president. President Biden has talked quite a bit about women's rights and wanting to respect them.
And yet, as we saw with this executive order, the Biden administration has sent a very clear message to young women like Alana. You don't matter. Your athletic opportunities, your scholarship opportunities do not matter. And if a biological male identifies as female, he's welcome to sideline you in your own sport. So this is not something the American people want. As you mentioned, people on the right and the left agree. It's simply not fair to displace young women in their own sports.
Hey. And it's starting with the apostles of Great Millstone. They've been telling you, these times is coming, man. But you said it's okay. Now it's a problem. You see? Let's get this.
GMA exclusive, 2 transgender high school runners. Well, they're kicking up dust in Connecticut, taking the top spots at the state girls championship, leaving parents wondering if they have an unfair advantage. Lindsay Davis is here, and you sat down with the track stars to talk all about this.
That's right, Michael. We're talking about a subject that's so sensitive that Andrea and Terry, who you're about to meet, felt when it was time to tell their parents that they're transgender, they each revealed it by text, and now they have gone public with it, and they're facing opposition from people who say, even though you may feel like a girl, you need to compete against the boys. Terry Miller and Andrea Yearwood dominating the competition at the Girls Track and Field Championships in Connecticut earlier this month, coming in first and second place, respectively. And while it was a state race, their wins are making national headlines, not because of what they did, but because of who they are, 2 transgender girls. When was the first time that either of you found any kind of opposition to you participating on the girls' team?
I was expecting it, so every day I'll go home, search up Track and Field High School, Terry Miller.
Because you wanted to know what people were saying.
Yeah.
Some of those comments were harsh. Critics complaining that Andrea and Terry both have an unfair advantage since they were born boys. At what point do you decide, actually, it's more appropriate for me to be on the girls' team and competing with other girls?
I decided that the summer before 9th grade.
They've both started hormone therapy and say that for the most part they've been welcomed by friends, family, coaches, and administrators with open arms. But there is some backlash from parents and students. 2 petitions were even started in an attempt to change the current rule of the state's governing body of interscholastic sports. The rule states that students are entitled to participate on a team based on their gender identity, how they identify.
The girls athletes are at the physical disadvantage compared to the transgender female.
Bianca Stanescu started one of those petitions after her daughter Selena lost to Andrea and Terry at a track meet in May.
They have naturally testosterone within their body that has been proven to give a physical advantage in sports.
The mom, who was unaware that the girls were already undergoing hormone therapy, has gotten a little over 100 signatures. Medical science tells us that estrogen hormone therapy does change the body, replacing some lean muscle with fat. But of course, everyone is different. Andrea's parents say what's most important to them is the well-being of their child.
Track is number 100 on my list of concerns as a father of a transgender daughter. I'm talking about raising a child for a life. And so is it fair that that child is excluded? Is it fair that that child doesn't feel like they have a place to belong?
It allows her to be who she wants to be, and I think that has a little bit more weight than just winning a medal.
The rules vary from state to state.
Wow.
In 7 states, including Texas, students must play on the team that matches their birth certificate, or have undergone surgery, or have had extended hormone therapy, while the NCAA requires the completion of 1 year of testosterone suppression. Medical research cannot really identify the line where a competitive advantage might exist for trans athletes of either gender.
What do you want to say to other transgender youth, young people, teens who are out there really struggling through this process?
Just follow your heart. Like, don't let other people determine what you do in life.
Let's just play devil's advocate for a moment and just imagine that you were both born girls, and then all of a sudden you had 2 boys who identified as being girls, and they said, hey, we're going to be on your team, and maybe now you're not performing as well because they are better.
I'm not going to discourage you or try to say, oh, it's not fair. And it would just push me to run faster. I'd be happy for them because they get to do what they want. They're happy, so then that should in turn make me happy. They're brave. They're just different from everybody.
This is Jeremiah, chapter 5, verse 28. They are waxing fat, they shine. Yeah, they overpass the deeds of the wicked. They judge not the cause of the fatherless, yet they prosper in the right of the needy, do they not judge. The point is, they overpass the deeds of the wicked. This should not be, man. The Lord said, in the latter days, the world shall be as Sodom and Gomorrah. This is another clip. It's a bunch of madness, man. But it is what it is. It's the will of Yahweh Shema Shah.
Connecticut is one of many states that, in the name of inclusiveness, allow biological males to compete in women's sports leagues. But is it detrimental to female athletes? You probably know what I think about this, having been a female athlete, especially in high school. Now, that's what 3 high school track and field stars argue in a new lawsuit to overturn the state athletic conference's transgender policy. According to their complaint, this reality is discrimination against girls that directly violates the requirements of Title IX. Because schools are permitting males to compete as girls and women are losing competitive opportunities. To American girls, those born with XX chromosomes, the message is, give up. You can't win. Joining me now exclusively, I'm so happy to see them all. It's like a Connecticut reunion here. The high school track and field stars behind this lawsuit, Chelsea Mitchell, Alana Smith, and Selena Soul, and their attorney, Christiana Holcomb. All right, Selena, I'm going to start with you. And it's not just because you're a Glastonbury High School senior where I went to school. What was the final straw that sparked this legal action?
This is Deuteronomy, chapter 23, and verse 1. He that is wounded in the stones, which is your testicles, or have his privy member cut off, shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. This is Deuteronomy 23 and 17. There shall no whore of the daughter of Israel. There shall not be, Salakia, there shall not be no whore of the daughter of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. Okay? But this devil is passing laws to make it possible, man. And he have passed another law to give them total covering, total clearance of these things to be, man. This is another reason why the Heavenly Father, Yahweh and Yahushua, burneth, their vengeance burneth in them, man.
It was just the continued unfairness in our sport.
And you were a, top runner. And what happened to you that made you feel like you were, being treated unfairly?
I lost out on countless opportunities to get placements, get titles, and qualify for further meets to display my talents to college coaches.
Did you actually lose competitions to meets to male athlete, biological males?
Every single meet that I've competed against them.
So is that 4 total or more?
Countless times.
Oh, countless times. Well, we probably could count, but we won't say it's a lot. Alana, same with you. What people say, what are the damages? Isn't this just all about diversity and inclusiveness?
I lost out on getting runner-up at meets like states and regionals, so I took home a bronze medal when I should have been taking home a silver medal.
It's really hard to stand up, Christiana. You're the lawyer here representing. I'm going to get to everybody here on the panel, but to Chelsea next, who's going to William and Mary next year. But it's really hard to stand up for what's obvious and right. Most people know what's right here.
No, I think you're exactly right. I mean, I think courage begets courage, and it's been an incredibly courageous act for these young women to stand up and say, look, this is not fair. We just want to restore a level playing field to our sport.
Now, we're going to see in this video, you guys won't be able to hear it, but you'll be able to see it. This is where Chelsea is competing against a trans athlete on Friday night and winning. The video shows the last moments of the race. Let's watch. Wow. Well, Chelsea, congrats on William and Mary.
Thank you.
Excellent school. So tell me about that race. Did that make you feel like maybe you didn't have to file this lawsuit because you won after all, or is it just kind of a one-off?
No, not at all. Despite my victory, I've still lost 4 state championships because of this issue, and I've lost countless other opportunities, and there are still so many girls that have been displaced because of this, and so this lawsuit is absolutely necessary to restore fair.
Romans chapter 1, verse 28. And even as they did not like to retain power in their knowledge, power gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. Here's another clip. Check this out.
And also tonight, an update to a story we brought you last month about 2 transgender girls competing in high school track in Connecticut. On February 16th, Terry Miller and Andrea Yearwood took first and second place in the State Open Indoor Women's Track Championships, even though they are biological males. They today identify, they say, as girls. Now, one of the girls participating in that race, Selena Sewell, finished in 8th place, missing out on a chance to compete in front of college coaches by just 2 spots. She said this is about competing versus Miller and Yearwood. And she said, we all know the outcome of the race before it even starts. It's demoralizing. Well, here now herself, Selena Sewell. Selena, well, you go to Glastonbury High School, where I went to high school and was a decent athlete. What?
Hey, you see? Hey, this guy passed these laws, man, for it to be so. Check this out.
I'm a wrestler. I've wrestled both men and women. I can attest to the biological difference. Wrestling men is a whole different game. My sophomore year, I was wrestling a senior. The ending score was like 9-7 or something really close, and I threw up immediately after. But I won. The guy looked really sad at the end. It was like one of his last matches, and he lost to a girl that was younger than him. Yes! I'm Olivia Rondo, and I started wrestling on the boys' team in high school. At first, it was really tough. During my freshman year, I won my first match, then lost all of the others because of my inexperience and the strength difference. I didn't want to go through those losses again, so during the off season, I worked 10 times as hard, competed in national tournaments, and got mentally and physically stronger. That next year, I went on a winning streak and even wrestled on varsity. Because I was forced to adapt to wrestling with a biological disadvantage, I went on to dominate the women's arena. I became a 3-time state champion, 6-time All-American, and 3-time national champion. I was also part of the 2017 Olympic development team. For college, I was recruited to a women's team with the expectation that I would be only competing against other biological women. That is what I believe to be fair. Very few women can hold their own against men in combat sports. I've only been able to do so with my experience and work ethic. In 2020, now we have to deal with biological men in women's sports. Biologically male MMA fighter Fallon Fox fractured their opponent's skull during a fight.
But that was not what was going on here. What was going on here was this woman who used to be a man for 32 years transitioned to being a woman and it didn't tell anybody. And fought 2 different women who thought they were fighting a woman and got fucking smashed.
Badly injured, yeah.
Well, I was watching it. It was like watching a man fight a woman. That's what I was watching. I was like, this isn't like particularly, she wasn't particularly skillful. It wasn't like she had like some unbelievable background in judo, like Ronda Rousey or something like that. It wasn't that.
It's a he.
Literally
It's not a
watching
she.
A former man beat up women.
Australian handball player Hannah Mounty stands at 6'2" and weighs in at 220 pounds. The videos speak for themselves.
Hannah Mouncy should have been a shoo-in to play at the elite level of the women's Aussie rules competition. But late last year, the AFL said no, deciding she was too much of a physical threat to her opponents.
Mary Gregory smashed 4 women's world records in weightlifting.
Some congratulations are in order tonight for powerlifter Mary Gregory. Gregory just competed at a 100% raw powerlifting tournament. Gregory competed in 9 events and won all 9 of them, setting 4 records in the process. That was a triumph of the human spirit.
Even while transitioning, estrogen will not change someone's height, arm span, lung capacity, or bone structure. It will not erase all of their male strength. Does this sound fair? It's becoming a real safety and equality issue for real female athletes, yet we are expected to be okay with it, all in the name of diversity. The original American feminists fought hard to get separate spaces for women to compete against each other, and now the left is erasing that progress.
Isaiah 29 and verse 16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. Who turned the things upside down? Esau Edom. Isaiah 29 and 16 again. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. This is Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Everything that the Lord had made, this devil has turned it upside down. This is Isaiah 24 and verse 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. You see, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. Who are the inhabitants? The Job 9 and 24. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. And what did he do? Surely his turn of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. Right? Isaiah 5 and 20. Woe to them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. This is what they have done, man. And this devil is passing more executive orders than any other president, man. Therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore, the inhabitants of the earth are burned and few men left, man. The Lord gave this devil the power to destroy the earth, man, in wickedness.
Nothing is equal about biological men invading women's spaces.
Nothing is equal, man. You see? Here's another one. Check this out.
On the way to a track meet in New York City, Alana and I were talking about what her strategy was going to be for the day. And she looked at me and said, "Mom, it really doesn't matter because I'm running against the boys today. I won't win."
Alana Smith out of lane 4. 7-foot Danbury, Alana Smith. Back down the straightaway they come. Knew how well as the shell off the middle of the track.
So even before I get to the track, I already know that I'm not gonna get first place or maybe even second place. And it's really hard knowing that because I know that no matter how hard I work, I won't be able to have the top spot.
Alana is a quiet competitor. She's very humble and she hates to lose, but she doesn't outwardly show it. And she has a desire and a will to win that keeps her going, and she continues to work hard. But it was, as a parent, it's like a punch in the stomach to know that she had worked really hard to get where she was, and because she had to compete against boys, that opportunity to win was being taken away from her.
It's crazy, man. Straight madness, man.
Women should have the opportunity to be champions. Athletics is an opportunity for young girls to develop self-confidence, to work hard, to see the results, not just to participate, but to win. And when you allow males to come in and to steal those opportunities away from young women, that is not okay. It doesn't just violate Title IX, but it impedes their future athletic and career opportunities as well.
It should not be so, man. But you know what it is at the end of the day? It's the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. It's Yahweh Hashem Yahushua that's doing this, man. We are at the end. We are at the beginning of sorrows. We are at the beginning of the sorrows of Babylon the Great coming down, man. So it's beautiful to the hopeful elect to see these things happen, man. You would say, oh, it's sad. You know, it's sad that she got to go through this. But you know what? It's the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. Okay? It's the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. Point blank, period. Babylon the Great is a bunch of wickedness, man. And this is just prophecies that's playing out. It's prophecies, man. It gotta happen. This place gotta go down. And the Lord said that the earth shall be as Sodom and Gomorrah. We should look at what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah and understand if we see this in these times, we know that this is the falling, the collapsing, the deteriorating of Babylon the Great, man. This is Jude 1:7. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. How did Sodom and Gomorrah get destroyed? By fire and brimstone and smoke. What does the Bible say about Babylon the Great being destroyed? By fire and smoke and brimstone. From what? Those intercontinental ballistic missiles, man. It's prophecy. And it gotta happen, man. It gotta happen. This is another prophecy that gotta happen, man. as well as the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, and World War III, man. This is another clip. Babylon the Great and the end all be all. It gotta happen, man.
Transgender MMA fighter has said she wants a license to fight in California.
Biological male has just become the first transgender person to win a world title in cycling.
First transgender weightlifter winning her maiden international event as a woman.
A biological male winning a gold medal in a women's event now seems a matter of when, not...
What DJ Khaled say? We taking over. Hey, we taking over. One at a time, man. Okay? We taking over one at a time, man. What is one movement at a time, man. They are taking over. And this devil has passed these laws to get him the right to take over, man. Why? You got Kamala Harris, who was one of the first to marry LMNOP, right? She was one of the first to marry lesbian women, and she's with the party of Biden, and they're pushing these agendas, man. Hey, it gotta happen, man. You see, they taking over, man. One sport at a time. That's what I'm looking to say. They taking over one sport at a time, man. The LMNOP, the Transformers. What can you do? Hey, you agreed to it, right? To give everybody liberty and rights, right? So it's happening. So deal with it, man.
Since sports events began, men and women have been segregated by gender to make the competitive events fairer due to differences in muscle mass, innate strength, or testosterone levels. But nowadays, these physical differences no longer seem to be a determining factor.
There are all kinds of reasons that people have advantages. Somebody's parents can give them year-round training. Somebody else is really, really tall and someone's really, really short.
Sport has never been fair. You bought into that myth, so have a lot of other people. But let's face it, if I wanted to be a jockey, I couldn't be. Nature endows her gifts unevenly in society.
It's true that some physical characteristics give athletes an unusual advantage in sports, like Michael Phelps' long arms or Usain Bolt's height. But the genetic difference of being born as a male or female and competing with the opposite gender proved to be more of a determining factor than any bodily developments in sports.
Man.
If you go through puberty, you have all the benefits of having a male body. And even if you transition and reduce your testosterone, you're still going to have those benefits. You're going to have the bone structure, the slightly bigger heart, more red blood cells. So therefore, a female athlete competing with a transgender female is always going to be at a disadvantage.
Testosterone levels are important because the amount of the hormone defines the eligibility of athletes to compete whenever sporting events are limited to a single sex, following IAAF rulings.
The idea that we need to protect women's or female sport from other women and females is itself inherently discriminatory. No testosterone policy will ever work.
Male to female athletes no longer need to have reassignment surgery
But they do need to demonstrate that their testosterone levels have been below 10 nanomole per litre for at least 1 year, according to the 2016 International Olympic Committee guide.
Romans chapter 1, verse 25. This is Romans 1 and 25. It's let's read Romans 1 and 24. Wherefore power also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of power into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause power gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature, and likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burning in their lust one towards another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. You see? It's from the Lord, man. Man's goings are from Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, man. If you can't understand it, don't worry about it, man. But we understand. Hey, listen, we understand, we know. And this is Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai promoting this, man. Because this is a part of prophecy. It has to happen. It has to happen.
Guidelines.
It's not saying you're a man or a woman. It's saying you can compete. It's a matter of eligibility to participate in certain competitions.
In the case.
Lord, witness, edifying, gotta give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Awashai, Bahashim, Rukah Kodash, double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone, who root well, who teach well, and a sincere salutation to all the ark and pushing this truth and believing this truth, for the four winds of the earth, the entire world, waking up the hopeful elect. Shalom.